All right, and we should be ready to go. So why don't we get started? My name is Cameron Laird. I am the product director for the Get Seller Leads program, and we are going to use this Get Seller Leads program, go through this webinar today to show you a little bit more about it and how you can use this product to showcase yourself online as a local expert that homeowners are looking for to partner with in order to sell their home. So just as we mentioned, Get Seller Leads is essentially a fully automated advertising program for you. Our in-house team actually creates these beautiful ads that we post on Facebook today that will flow leads directly into your kvCORE system. When these leads come in, they're automatically hashtagged with KV Seller Paid. Makes it super easy for you to use your smart CRM filter to identify those leads that are coming in and make sure that you're able to get them going for, onto your campaigns or anything else that you want to do. We make this even easier for you as well, because included with this program is an exclusive campaign that we use to get you started. And that campaign will get a whole bunch of contacts going, getting to reach out to the people that are coming into your CRM database, and make sure that you've got emails and text messages and tasks for yourself to call these people and get them coming in, get them dealt with. It'll automatically also sign them up for a market report for the address that they've entered when they fill out the form, to get this going for you so that they're getting information that's valuable to them as a prospective seller. Now, the great thing about this program is that you can essentially eliminate the need of understanding how to use Facebook Ads Manager. There's no need to learn any other ad programs, because as this product evolves and as this program evolves, we're actually going to add new programs to the mix. So we will eventually be advertising on Google Ads as well. There's no need to do anything complicated with setup like things like Zapier or any other APIs to connect things into kvCORE. We take care of everything for you from the very, very start, where we create the ad, get it up and running on Facebook, right through to those leads coming through. And we fully automate it even further by making sure that those people are getting a campaign coming to them right away, right out of the gate. So the ads look like this. You can see on the left-hand side, we get this nice image. They are geographically targeted. So when you set this program up, you're going to select a zip code. We use that zip code to create like a 15-mile radius around the center of the zip code that we're going to target people with. You get this nice ad with the generic imagery. It has a nice call to action, calling people to come in and look for to get a free detailed home value report. Now, when we talk about the detailed home value report, the idea here is that you're going to take these contacts, you're going to create a really good as good as you can home value report using the tools that you have available to you as a realtor, whether it's your MLS system, some sort of a comparative market analysis that you can put together and provide them with a detailed report that goes above and beyond sort of an automated report that you might get by going onto Zillow or onto somebody's website and getting that automatic valuation coming through. The idea here is that you're going to use your expertise as a realtor based on the information that's provided to give them enough of a valuation to show them good value. So that's the call to action here, is to get your free detailed home value report. When they click on that learn more button, it's going to jump them out to a site where they can enter their address and ask some more qualifying questions to get to the prospective seller. And the nice thing about this is it actually does generate a relatively high intent lead, requiring actively participating in it by clicking on that learn more and then actually filling out a form with your address information. It does provide a little bit more of that high intent versus what you're seeing coming through more of a passive click when somebody's just seeing an image and wanting to look to get more information. Before we move on, I just want to address a quick question that comes out. There will be a recording of this webinar going out again later on. Tomorrow, you'll see a recording of this come back through your email for everybody who's attended and for those who didn't make it. So the information will be coming out tomorrow as well as a follow-up email. Okay, so back to this, you've got this is what the ad looks like. You click through, and that's going to take you to a page like this that you see in the background here. It says free, get your, city. In this case, I've used Portland home value report, getting you that average home value in Portland at 500,284. See what yours is worth below. When you enter an address into this, it takes them to a page. And what we actually do is we try to scrape the information about the owner of that home from a system that we use called Cold Data. And we take that address, we try to find their contact information and pre-fill it for them so that it makes it very, very easy to actually put that in. Now, what happens and what comes through into your kvCORE system is you're going to get a name, a full address with zip code, city, and state, as well as an email address. Now, I will sort of say that we are in the process of working out adding phone number into the mix on this as well. But when we did initially release this, the phone number being present on the form really killed conversion. So what we've done is we've really tried to optimize this to make it super easy for you to get the contact information that we can make available that, enables us to get enough leads coming through for you and get them into your funnel and get them working. We will be releasing a new feature in the not too distant future where we'll add a second step that will actually ask for the phone number, but that's not out just yet. It's coming soon. So right now, in terms of contact information, you're getting full address, name, and email address coming from this valuation form that we fill out on your website. So when they do click through and they fill out the form, that's going to submit the lead through to kvCORE. And then the lead will actually be dropped onto your website where they can actually click through and look at listings and look at all the other information that's on your website. So it doesn't ever leave your website. It keeps them right there and keeps them working right within the confines of your site. So it is a very simplified process. We're trying to make it one step, enter that address in, get as much information coming from the cold data as we can so that we can get this information into your kvCORE without the agent having to, or the lead having to put in a whole bunch of information there. So once they are in there, we do get this engagement happening right away. So each lead comes in, they're going to get that get seller leads. They're going to get an automated valuation. We're going to sign them up for the market report, which I'll show you in a second. And then the campaign actually starts right away with a 390-day run that includes emails, texts, tasks, calls. You're going to have a whole bunch of information that's going to be showing up in your record of all the activity of what they have looked at on your website. You're going to see the valuation in there. You're going to see the address, any properties that they've looked at the area. All of that is going to come right into kvCORE right away. And all of the pending and completed activities will be available for you to review on your contact timeline. The market report looks like this. So they're going to get this right away. It's going to give them a market report sort of showing the average home value price in the area for the property that they submitted. The one thing I often get questions for is, I'm seeing leads coming in where the person has submitted a lead for, a property that's outside of the zip code I selected. That's because they can enter in any address that they want. So they may actually, although you're targeting them as to where they're physically located, if they're looking at somebody else's home that's just outside of that area and they're looking to get a valuation of that, they will be able to submit those leads, which could be great for you as referrals as well. But it does give you that idea of what that looks like. So you're going to see the number of homes for sale, what's happened in the market, the new to the market, the average home price, the average sold price, homes that are currently for sale in that area as well. So it's giving them that information as to what it looks like, but it doesn't really give them the detailed information about their property because we're going to leave that up to you to determine for them based on getting some more information around the property, how many rooms, that kind of stuff that you can capture from them as you engage with them. And they'll be signed up actually to receive this on a monthly basis. So they're going to get an updated version of this market report every 30 days. Now, in terms of where this comes into play, it's $500 is the base package to get signed up here in terms of spend. That's going to get you one zip code that you can target. We do require a 3-month commitment on that as well. And what I mean by one zip code is that you're going to sign up. We're going to use that zip code to create the radius of where we're targeting the audience. You can buy a package of this up to $1,500. If you wanted to run across multiple zip codes, that would require you to have multiple campaigns running because it is only giving you one zip code per. But to give you an idea in terms of performance, we're seeing on average about 10 to 20 leads per month coming in. It does vary greatly across market, depending on the conditions and the geography. But you know, $20 to $40 cost per lead. So you are seeing a lead that's a little higher cost, more in line with what you'd see from Google pay-per-click, which is indicative of the effort required, the intent of the person that's actually clicking through, filling out the form, putting their address in and that kind of stuff. It is a higher cost of acquisition on these than what you would get from, say, Property Boost, where somebody's just sort of clicking through and looking at a property. Because it's that higher engagement, it does tend to cost a little bit more per lead to get them coming through. Again, 3-month commitment required. The reason we say 3-month commitment is because it does take a little while for things to ramp up. The first month can be a little lower volume compared to the second and third and fourth. We want you to give this a fair shake and make sure you're giving it the necessary amount of time required to settle it, excuse me, and get working for you, as opposed to just signing up and then canceling after a month. That's why there's that 3-month commitment required there as well. It does take a little bit of effort as well. So in terms of getting started, we're going to go to the marketplace. You're going to search for the Get Seller Leads tile, and then you're going to add that to kvCORE. Really simple from there. You're going to pick your website that you want to have the traffic directed to, and then all you really need to do is enter in your zip code and get your credit card in there, and you can get up and running. It takes about a day for them to get working. But after that, you'll start to ramp up pretty quickly. And over that first couple of weeks, you should see within a few days, you start to see leads come in on that program. I'm going to turn over to questions over here from the audience right now. So first question here is, will the market report include a recommended pricing range? So you're going to see, like I said before when I was showing the example, you're going to see the average home price and the average sold price. So basically what the price over the last 30 days in terms of what was listed, and then over the last 30 days, what the average sold price is. So you're going to get that in terms of like what things are going for in that neighborhood without getting too detailed in there. Ideally, what we'd want to see happen is that you take this as a starting point, reach out to them, get in contact with them, and then prepare an actual report for them based on the details of their home, like the condition. But it's intended to get you a foot in the door so that you can actually get working with them right away. Typical lead costs, like I said before, we're seeing about 10 to 20 leads per month, and a cost of about 20 to 40 leads per month. Sorry, $20 to $40 per lead is what I should say. The cost per lead, the cost in general, all the costs here are in US dollars, is what I should say as well. What else we got open here? Excuse me 1 second. I just have to clear my throat. Are the images regionally based? I'm in Oregon and houses look very different from, say, Florida. Yeah, so the images that are used on the ads are intended to be fairly generic in that they would be, the kind of home and the setting that you would see everywhere. So, for example, you'll never see palm trees on the front lawn of a property. They try to keep the images pretty tightly cropped to make them look as generic as possible, so that you don't run into that problem. Hawaii houses look very different from this. Is the image customized by state or generic across country? Like I said, the images are generic, but if we wanted to, that's a great question about the Hawaii houses. We may be able to look into that further and see if we can get a little bit more detailed view as to what those images look like. But they tend to be generic across the country. It doesn't vary by state. Yeah, so the question here about the lead not having to enter phone number. The data that's coming through is not it's not relying on Cole to gather the information. We do pre-populate it if we have it. It doesn't you can override it. So if if it's the wrong information or it's not accurate or up to date, the user can actually enter in the proper information. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to mimic the experience that you would have with a Facebook lead form, where that information is pre-populated for you. But for this type of ad program, we can't run those ads through Facebook. where we're capturing address data. It's not, it's against their rules. So we're having to try to do our best to make that work and make it as easy as possible. So although we're not fully relying on cold data, we do try to pre-populate with the name and email address, at least, if whatever we capture from that system, that we can match up against with the address, to get that information first. Question here about websites. If we have our own site like WordPress, will the leads still be dropped into our site? These, all of our ad programs currently rely on you using a templated site. So, the WordPress sites and your own sites outside of kvCORE don't work with this. We'd have to have this directed towards your actual templated kvCORE site. We can't use WordPress sites for advertising.
Cameron, can you just speak a little bit, because there's some folks on here that have probably heard about Nosy Neighbor as well. Can you just kind of speak to the difference between these two products, so agents can understand what to look at based off their goals?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a difference between this and Nosy Neighbor in terms of, this is a lead generation program where you're actually getting people to respond generically to an ad, to create a lead in your system, whereas Nosy Neighbor is more about brand building, and making a specific geography aware of your presence as the agent of choice in that neighborhood. So there is a difference there in terms of trying to build relationships versus trying to generate leads. So there is a difference there between the two, in terms of how they work. So with Nosy Neighbor, for example, when you buy a zip code for Nosy, what you're doing is you're saying, give me all of the people that are in this neighborhood so we can blanket them specifically with advertising and print through postcards, so we can say, hey, this is agent Joe Smith, and I'm here to sell your home or help you with getting your home value, versus this one, which is more about, hey, come and tell me about your home, and I'll get you a valuation. So there's a slight nuance between the two programs, where Nosy Neighbor is a lot more long-term, building your brand up, trying to own the neighborhood, own the zip code, versus this one where you're just sort of targeting people that are within that zip code with your ad, if that answers that question. So the question here about how does the audience build out for the ads work in second home markets where the owner don't live primarily in the geo radius? So that's a great question. Basically, if we're talking about trying to get, or are we trying to sell a second home to them, if you're targeting them in their home geo, they are potentially going to see that ad and click through, but they can enter in any address that they want. So it has to do with the person's physical location. So if somebody is living at their second home, for example, maybe in the summertime, they live at a lake house, or in the wintertime, they live at the beach, they're going to be targeted from where they actually are physically located, and where Facebook, for example, tells us where they are, versus where their home is actually located. Hopefully that answers your question on that one. My website, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Oh no, I'm trying to catch ones that we're seeing on a recurring basis. Just a heads up, we've got a lot of questions, so we're going to spend the remaining time covering them. So just be patient until we get to yours. But can you just clarify that this does work in Canada, and you're just using zip codes for shorthand?
Yeah, zip code I'm using that as shorthand, but yeah, zip or postal code. So when you purchase this program, what we do require is that you put in a full postal code, not just the first 3 characters. I myself am Canadian. I should know better than to say just zip code. And I reside in Canada, but this program does work in both the US and Canada. Even Quebec, for that question that came up there. Does this market report look and pull data like this for Canadian properties? So that's a great question. So it does look like this. It'll vary slightly for Canadian properties in that we don't have the same access to sold data in Canada everywhere. So that's something that is a difference. And actually, that's something I should have prefaced talking about the market report, because the data that's on the market report will vary based on the data that we have available from the local MLS. So in Canada, sold information is not as readily available. It's available in some markets, but not everywhere. But you will see things like average home price, average number of, price reductions, new to the market. All of that information will be available there, as well as the homes for sale. The thing that will vary will be the number of sold properties and what they sold for, because we don't always have that information for the Canadian markets, or any market for that matter. Some markets don't share that sold information, and others do. Just wanted to reiterate, we will send a recording of the presentation tomorrow, so that it's so that everybody has it.
Amber, can you just speak to a little bit about the exclusivity of the leads? And there's some folks saying, oh, if we get someone a little bit outside the radius, are those their leads as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the leads are exclusive to you. So we, if somebody does click through, you're still the only person that's going to get access to that lead to work them. We don't recycle leads; they don't go to other people as well. Yeah, it's totally available for you to have full access to any leads that come through. Question here about how many agents are able to buy into the same zip code. For this program, we try to limit it to about 3 agents per zip code, but that will vary depending on the number of leads. So we do take a look, and if you've requested a zip code that is full, which are very rare at the moment. It's a fairly new program, but we will take a look, and if it's a little crowded, we'll ask you for a different zip code to use, because we do want to try and maintain the quality and quantity there. And if we get too many people in a zip code, you'll end up with ads that are competing with one another, which we don't want to do very much. Okay, what else we got here in terms of questions? Just to reiterate on cost, I'll bring that back up again because there's a question there I see about cost. It's $500 to $1,500 depending on what you want to use. So you can choose up to $1,500 as the max, or you can choose $500 as the entry point there per month. That gets you 1 zip code with a 3-month commitment required. Another question here, how do you get your leads? Your leads will come directly into kvCORE, and they'll be tagged with a hashtag of KV seller paid and also a source of KV seller paid. So they'll be very, very easy to identify right in your kvCORE database. And we will also be adding them to a campaign right off the bat, 390-day campaign with emails and outreach to that customer or the potential lead right away. This particular program is for seller leads. We do have another program called Get Buyer Leads, which is available in the marketplace as well, which is a pretty neat program. That program will actually create a dynamic ad with multiple listings. So if you have lots of listings, you can use the Get Buyer Leads program to use that to generate dynamic ads like mini property boosts. Question here, I just wanted to see here, there's a question here, but after the 90 days, can you keep the leads? Absolutely. So if you run the program for 3 months and you got some leads coming in, and you don't want to keep it anymore, you can cancel at that point, but any of the leads that are in your database are yours to keep and continue working on that. So Buyer Leads program is the same cost. Let's see what else we got here. How do we change the background on the photo for the home valuation landing page? The landing pages are all static. We don't have the ability to customize those. Can we return lead if buyers look for property value and also invalid leads? No, the leads that come to you, that's they are what they are. So we don't have a return program on leads.
Hey, Cameron, we've got a couple folks asking about where to search for their zip codes and buy. Can you just remind them of where to look in the marketplace
Yeah,
to find
absolutely.
this?
Yep, absolutely. So you go to marketplace, you're going to search for get seller or get, and you'll see the get seller and the get buyer programs come up, and you can click on the get seller leads tile. When you fill that form out, it's going to ask you for a zip code. We'll take your order and then we'll look to see if the zip code is available, and then which most zip codes are. We don't have any that are sold out currently. So if you put that through, we take a look at them and then we will actually let you know if we need a different zip code. So basically the difference, there's a question here, what's the difference between $500 and $1,500? Basically what it is ad spend. So the higher the tier program you choose, the more we will spend on ads, which is going to expand your reach. So 500 is the bare minimum entry point. And then that will grow from there. So basically we'll spend more within that audience to make sure ad display more often to more people with the higher price points.
Hey, Cameron, there's some folks just worried about like lead volume and
Mhm.
guarantees, I guess, because they've been burned by other advertising platforms.
Sure.
Can you just, I know there's some variability, but can you generously speak to some of the volume we've been seeing so far?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of the volume, what we've seen for people that have at least 1 month of activity, the volume has been between 10 and 20, but that does vary largely based on market conditions and geography. So we've had some people that are at on the above 20 leads per month because there's a lot of people that are submitting, looking for an agent to sell their home. But in a market where listings are a little tougher to come by, you may be more on the lower scale. So while this is an average across, there is there's no guarantee as to what we can provide. It does vary greatly for from market to market.
One more thing, Cameron, like everyone, we got some folks saying, why wouldn't I just DIY this or run the Facebook ads myself? So can you kind of speak to like the whole package and what we've put together and how we're optimizing it so that it
Yeah,
doesn't really make sense to try to do this alone unless you want to
yeah.
be like a full-time marketer?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got, basically a team of people as well as, technology behind this program, where we're always looking at the performance of not just, I mean, when your ad is running, we're not just running one version of that ad. We're actually running up to 10 to 15 different versions of the ad. And then as we look at the performance of each version of the ad, we actually pick the winner and we run with that. So in some markets, it may look exactly like what we showed on the page. For example, with this exact text, this exact image. But in other markets, we may mix and match between different images and different orientations of images. So we're always optimizing the ad. And as the ads are running, they learn. Our system learns and will change and modify the performance in order to optimize performance. So what you'll see is that these programs do ramp up because of the efforts that we're doing in the background. The other thing to keep in mind too is that when you're building an ad like this for Facebook, there is additional cost. And if you're doing this in a DIY sense, there is additional cost and effort required. I've got sort of my no Zapier here on the screen. In order to get leads from Facebook into kvCORE automatically, if you're doing this on your own, you'll need to use a tool like Zapier at an additional cost in order to get your leads coming from their Facebook ad manager into your kvCORE system. And then you'll have to build up all of your own follow-up programs, etc. So we are doing a lot of optimization. We're always making sure that the ads are running optimally. We're always changing them. We will be adding additional advertising destinations as well. So today it's Facebook, but we are looking at adding Google in here in the near future. So as you buy a program from us, it is completely managed in terms of not only what the ad looks like and how it works and what the performance is, but also in terms of where that ad will appear. So we're always trying to optimize this and doing the work for you to make sure that your ad is performing versus doing that yourself. yourself, where you would have to be constantly looking at it, looking at the performance, making little tweaks, making guesses as how to make this better. We're doing all of that work for you and letting our technology work for you. Any other questions that are coming up repeatedly? I'm just sort of going through the list as we go. Nick, but is there anything?
Let's see. There's some folks asking about conversion rate on the leads. Can you just speak to how, that's dependent on follow-up and nurturing?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. So on average, online leads tend to convert at a rate of about 1%. This is not a not necessarily a cash machine where you can kind of put this program on and expect to have transactions coming out of your ears within a very short period of time. So this is about a longer term play. You're going to have to work with these people, get in contact with them, get them with value coming into their inbox to make sure that you're keeping top of mind to work through these leads. But on average, online leads convert at about a rate of 1%. There's a question here. Is there a preferred website or kvCORE website recommendation? If for this program, it's got to be your template kvCORE website to use for these ads. How's the same multiple versions? Just started reading
Cameron,
through
there's
this
some
here.
folks asking if there are any other fees or upcharges or anything. Can you just
No,
kind of
this is
clarify
it.
pricing is
Yeah.
set?
Yeah, no, that's it. What you see is what you get. So you're $500 a month. There are no other fees. There's no setup fees. Some other advertising programs will actually charge you a setup fee to get up and running. That's not something we charge. You see what you see is what you get. There's a question here about compliance tax. I just want to it sounds like somebody's actually going through, and what with compliance text, what that is if you have to add any additional information to be displayed on your advertisement that's based on any regulatory rules for your from your MLS board, or sorry, from your real estate board, it'll actually appear below this text that you see at the beginning of the ad. So if you have to have, your broker's name or your phone number, your license number, that kind of thing, you can have that added to this as well. It's just a short, I think it's about 100 characters that you can add in there in the event that you need to add any additional text to the ad. The question here about postal codes. Will it be the first 3 digits? A postal code can be only 100 homes. Actually, that's a great point. And a postal code can actually be one home or one apartment building. So we ask for the full postal code, but then what we do is we use that to generate a radius, to get the center, and then generate a radius, which will expand much further beyond just the actual full 6-digit postal code. So we're just using that as a mechanism to create a geographical area that we're going to target within. And Facebook actually adds additional people, but we need that starting point as some sort of geographic radius. When do we expect to get phone number capture included in the system? That's actually coming very soon, probably within the next couple of weeks. We should have that out. It's being worked on right now. So we should see that system coming, that update coming soon. What it's going to do is it's going to add an additional step. So once you've submitted a lead with your address and your email address and name, you then it will ask for additional details, including the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, condition of the home, and a phone number. Is there anything else that you're seeing coming through the chat, Nick?
Yeah, a lot of repeated questions. Let me see if there's something different. Can you again just speak to the automated kvCORE campaign and the fact that they don't need to configure anything?
Yeah, so that's the thing with this. Also, we've we actually add a campaign right into your kvCORE system, and anybody who comes in as a lead on this system will automatically be added to that campaign. So it's not necessary to to build your own campaign, or do any of that. We've done it for you. You can actually find that campaign inside of kvCORE and modify it if you want to, but we've actually added a starting point for you. So there's lots of that's getting you going, and that includes a number of different touch points. So once they're in there, you'll see the market report will go out to them. We send them emails with touch points, questions about did they get what they needed, did you want to set up a time to get back together and review further. It's sort of it's a very detailed campaign that runs for about 390 days.
I think we had some folks that are late, Cameron. So could you just summarize again the key components of the product?
I'm sorry, one more time, Nick. I was reading a question as you were saying.
Yeah,
that.
no, we just got a folks that I think were late and missed the initial setup. Can you just, do you have your slide that you just kind of run through the key components?
Yep.
Of what it is?
Yeah. So basically what this program is, again, for those of you who may have joined a little late, we have, this program for you, a fully automated advertising program that puts an ad online today with Facebook, tomorrow with additional sources, and gets leads flowing directly into kvCORE seamlessly. So all of your leads will be automatically hashtagged and marked with a source. KV seller page, which will make it super easy for you to see them and identify them and know that the system is working for you. You get a smart campaign set up for you for anybody who's added to this program through the website, through the lead capture, to get the contact information, but also that campaign will continue to provide information to them. They'll get a market report for the address they entered when they filled out the form, and they'll be subscribed to that so they can get this in their inbox every 30 days with updated information. So we're providing them with that updated information as they look through and follow it along. The nice thing about this program is it is fully automated for you, so you don't need to learn how to build these ads and get things going. We've taken care of that for you. You don't have to be a creative person that has to create the ads, or they're automatically created for you and optimized to run as best as they can, and we continually learn and make sure that they're always optimized. And there's no complicated integrations between kvCORE and Facebook or Google to get your leads coming through. We are taking care of all of that for you, so your leads are flowing in seamlessly. There's no additional cost like having to buy a license for Zapier, do that complicated setup. We're taking care of all of that for you. The ads look like this. It's a very simple call to action. You click on learn more. We're going to take you to a capture form where you're going to enter in that address. We've made it super simple. This is one step. When they enter in the address, we will actually go and source as much contact information as we can from cold data. That's included in the program. So we're gonna get that information if we can. If we don't have the information, they can enter it in manually or they can update it. And you're gonna get, at the very minimum, full name, email address, and full address coming through. Phone numbers are not yet available. They did kill the conversions. So when we had phone numbers in there, we did not have the ability to the conversions were just not there. We weren't getting any people clicking through when phone number was on the form, but we will be adding that back in the near future, probably over the next couple of weeks, where we'll add a secondary capture step. We'll add more information in there. Campaign I showed a little bit a while ago, 390 days on the campaign, emails, text messages, tasks for you to reach out, contact them, the market report that's going to the monthly, all of that is going to be going through this campaign. You can customize the campaign. So when it gets added to your program, but you can go in and customize that if you want to add additional touch points, if you want to add different language in the messages that are going out, or change it, add your own flair to it, you can do that. That's what you can do there. The market report this is a sample of what it looks like. So this is going to be dependent on what information we have for the market that you're servicing. For example, if we don't have sold data, it's not going to show on the form, but it is going to give you this information based on the listing data that we have coming through from your MLS, and that'll go out to them on a monthly basis. And then just sort of recap the cost, it's $500 to $1,500 based on the price. What's gonna grow is the reach that you'll get. So if we your ad will run longer and more frequently to more people, the more you spend. Each campaign gets you one zip code. The zip code or postal code is used as a center point to actually draw a radius of about 15 miles. So you're going to be covering a circle of about 30 miles per subscription there. And we do require a 3-month commitment on this program. Let me see here. Anything else?
Hey, Cameron, maybe we can just speak to, like, we've got huge engagement here, and some folks were running late or maybe missed some of the earlier questions because I'm seeing some repeats here. I'll just say we're gonna send the recording and the slides out so you guys can digest on your own or rewatch. And I think since we saw so much demand for today, Cameron and I are gonna schedule another live stream in the next week or two. So if you missed some answers, definitely try to watch the recording or just be on the lookout for an email from me inviting you to another live session.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for your great engagement. Really great questions today, guys. It was a very large audience, so thank you for your patience and waiting for your questions to get answered. And look out for that replay coming out probably tomorrow. And keep your eyes out for all the information coming after this.